Fire breaks out at ADM in Quincy. I'm Raja Maples to show you what happened coming up.
And round one of showers is behind us. Round two getting organized across the western plains. And what about the weekend? I have the answers for you coming up.
This is KHQA News at 10, working for you.
We begin tonight with breaking news where a fire erupts from the inside of the ADM plant in Quincy. Good evening, I'm David Amilati. Now, this fire happened earlier this evening in the west part of that plant located at 2100 Gardner Expressway. KHQA's Raja Maples is live from this scene. Raja, you say local fire agencies have slowly started leaving the scene.
David, I'm standing at Lock and Dam Road where I have been just north of the ADM plant in Quincy since around 7:30 p.m. I'm standing pretty far away from the plant, but right now you can see Tri-Township Fire Department trucks still on the scene. Now, I have seen 2 trucks leave since I've been here since 7:30, but they are still assessing the scene. And here's what we know so far. According to a statement from ADM, a small fire happened in an isolated section of the pellet mill at its Quincy, Illinois facility. No one was hurt and the fire was quickly contained, and the company is investigating the cause. Now, I walked up to security several yards away from me just moments ago to see if we could get an update from the Tri-Township Fire Department, which is assessing the scene. They said not at this time. They have bigger priorities right now. ADM did politely ask us to leave the premises, so we are several yards away from the scene. And I covered this in detail earlier this evening on my Facebook page. You can check out that video and up-close views right now at KHQA.com. Live from ADM in Quincy, I'm Raja Maples. Back to you.
Raja, thank you. We now have a KHQA exclusive as officials now reveal how they identified a missing woman of 26 years. A cold case has now been reopened thanks to a recently discovered piece of information. KHQA's Rachel Pearson has more on the story of Cynthia Day.
38-year-old Cynthia Day was reported missing on August 10, 1990. She was last seen in East St. Louis, Illinois, leaving behind 2 teenage daughters and a grandchild. 16 days later and 100 miles away, 2 hikers find a body here at this scenic overlook in Pike County, Missouri. The issue is a connection wasn't made for 26 years.
It was discovered that the report had never been filed, it had never been distributed, and that basically they had to start from scratch.
Meanwhile, Jane Doe's remains were processed by the Colorado Forensic Science Lab. They created this facial reconstruction based on her skull and hair. This photo made its way to almost every media outlet. Unfortunately, the forensic lab destroyed any remaining DNA, which was a common practice of the time.
Back in 1990, the way of preserving bodies or bones was that they were boiled.
Fast forward to 2010 when Cynthia's daughters see Jane Doe's photo. They immediately reach out to Pike County Sheriff's Office believing Jane Doe was their mother.
Through a kind of a clearinghouse situation that matches up missing people with unidentified folks, they came across information about our Jane Doe from 1990.
Over the next 6 years, Pike County Sheriff's Department began retracing its steps to find any new information connecting Jane Doe to Cynthia Day. Officials were unable to extract DNA from Jane Doe's remains, and dental records were long lost. It seemed to be a dead end, until a caller tipped off a Missouri State Highway Patrol investigator to dig for Jane Doe's fingerprint, a piece of information that was never shared with Pike County officials.
So, the Highway Patrol were able to locate in their archives that thumbprint, compared it with the print from Cynthia, and therefore, positively identified her.
Sheriff Cordy says this is a perfect example of what citizens and law enforcement can accomplish when information is shared.
Providing information or helping out sometimes, that is our greatest tool in law enforcement to solving things.
The next step for Pike County officials is to bring Cynthia Day justice. The homicide case is now active, and Sheriff Cordy says they have a person of interest. In Pike County, Rachel Pearson, KHQA News.
Well, meanwhile, a Macomb woman has now been charged with stealing a vehicle. This after police say they found her purse near the scene of the crime. It happened on 1050th Road. The McDonough County Sheriff's Office discovered the pickup in a ditch north of Macomb. Tamara Berry was arrested at her residence Tuesday. She was taken to McDonough County Jail.
Now, your 7-storm team first forecast.
Wasn't a bad day across the Mississippi Valley. You got to keep in mind this is still technically the summer season. We don't transition to fall until a week from tomorrow. Here's how we had high temperatures today. 78 at the Quad Cities, 79 at Quincy, 86 at St. Louis, and 77 out at Kansas City. Now, as far as the latest that we have for you across our neck of the woods, we do have temperatures that are generally on the mild side. 68 at Quincy, 79 at St. Louis, 71 at Kansas City. It's dropped to 64 at the Quad Cities. That cooler air has remained well to our north. That cool front that came through yesterday is now kind of washed out to our south. That's where the rainfall generally has been pretty much all day long. Now, that will start to kind of bubble up and start to make its way back to the north beginning later on tonight and perhaps early tomorrow morning. We do have a slight chance of some scattered showers. That's tomorrow, but tonight just mostly cloudy, 65 for the low. The wind out of the northeast at 5. The wind shifts to the south tomorrow. Slight chance of a shower, and that's mainly early in the morning, but a better chance as we roll through the afternoon. Highs back up around 80. Better chance of rain for tomorrow night into Friday. Tell you about that, plus the upcoming weekend in just a few minutes.
Rich, thanks. Happening right now, Iowans against the Bakken pipeline are now calling on President Obama to stop the pipeline. The Bakken Pipeline Resistance Coalition held a news conference today in Des Moines. They say the Dakota Access Pipeline threatens protected land, waters, and the environment. Last week, the Obama administration temporarily blocked ongoing construction to review if the pipeline will damage Native American tribal lands. But the coalition says that's not enough. They delivered more than 30,000 petitions to the Department of Justice.
The Department of Justice must investigate the injustices of this pipeline. They must review all of the permits that cover this pipeline. And that means the Army Corps of Engineers nationwide permit, as well as the 408 permit that they gave on the Missouri River.
Now, a Dakota Access spokesperson sent an internal memo yesterday saying the pipeline was designed to meet all safety and environmental regulations. Another story we have tonight for you at 10 o'clock. It's being called the biggest takeover in 2016. Bayer Ag, a German multinational chemical and pharmaceutical company, has agreed to buy U.S. seed maker Monsanto. Now, the $66 billion deal is the latest mega merger aimed at reshaping the agribusiness and chemical sectors. Monsanto is a leading producer of genetically engineered seed and Roundup, though grain merchandiser Mike Epperson feels that a merge such as this one could limit the competition.
Whether it's in fertilizer or anything else, any of these companies that are merging, making them bigger and bigger and bigger. Right now, this is seed and technology, and you won't have near as many choices if this merger goes through. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a good thing.
Now, Bayer says the merger would generate synergies of $1.5 billion over the next 3 years. New tonight at 10, McDonough County residents now voice their opinions over a possible hog facility. Today, the Illinois Department of Agriculture had an information meeting on the issue. It happened earlier this evening at the Spoon River College Outreach Center in Macomb. Let's get you up to speed. An application was recently submitted to building a 2,000 animal unit facility. The county chairman says he's fine with the plans as long as the project falls within certain guidelines. Nick Biggs with Tri-Oak Marketing and Relations says the hog confinement will be good for the community.
Once you get past the initial construction cost, which is significant, then you get into all the yearly expenses, just the operational expenses that the community where this facility is set and benefit from.
Now, that location is about 3 miles northeast of Adair. Local residents and attendants are still wary of the project and its long-term effect on the community.
A hog facility of this type will produce more manure and waste than all of the residents of McDonough County.
Here's what's next. After this meeting, the McDonough County Board has 30 days to submit a recommendation to the Department of Ag concerning the facility construction. Still to come, lawmakers push to legalize fantasy football. We'll explain why some say tighter regulations could be the answer. That story and much more ahead on KHQA News at 10.